Whenever we visit Colorado, there are a couple of things that are pretty much guaranteed to happen. The first one is that we are going to see some beautiful scenery, and the second one is that we are going to run some Via Ferratas with our good friends from Basecamp Ouray.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I am Dustin.
And I'm V.
And today we are back here at the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata. We've brought some new people. There's On and Aaron in the background, and also Jenny, which we'll meet in just a little bit. And we're going to do things a little bit differently. So let's go meet up with Logan and we'll tell you what we're doing.
If this video piques your interest to do the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata, which how can it not? You can use the code livethatadventure to get not only $10 off for your party, but it sends a couple bucks our way as well to help us continue to make new adventures for you. We really appreciate that. And now I'm proud to present to you the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Logan Tyler.
So it has been quite a big year for Basecamp Ouray. There's been a lot of things in the works. Why don't you let us know what you've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has been a big year, and I think that we're always striving to improve and evolve, with what we have to offer, especially in Via Ferrata being kind of a newer thing in the United States, right? And we want to continue to stay on the forefront of that. So really in an effort to do that, we were able to build out two new pitches, which are have been called the hardest pitches in the country. I think that they're definitely groundbreaking in the way that we're positioning the rungs, what we're learning about, how people go through these courses, kind of what the threshold for Via Ferrata is. So we're super excited about being able to bring the vision to life once again and create something that I think really pushes the boundaries of what is possible with Via Ferrata. And as a result of that, we've definitely realized there's been a lot more people getting into Via Ferrata, and so we wanted to open up the course. Previously, it was only with a guide. Now we've realized that a lot of folks have their own gear, they've done other Via Ferratas, and so we want to kind of follow that European model of allowing folks to do that on their own. So through our kind of unguided, monitored program, and really what that means is that we go through this orientation course and then we kind of set everybody loose. We do have guides on the course, kind of call them, like lifeguards, or we refer to them as monitors or proctors. So they're going to be on the course to help you out if you get in trouble. But the idea is that this is an adventure that folks can take on for themselves, and really be able to enjoy that without having to have a guide there showing them everything. I think if you've never done a Via Ferrata before, there's a lot of value in having a guide. And if you're interested in history and the geology, then those are all elements that you can get. But I think for those folks that are just looking for the adrenaline ride and to be able to experience this on their own, the unguided program I think is gonna really fit that mark.
Unlike other self-guided Via Ferratas, if you plan on doing the unguided version of Gold Mountain, you're going to have to first take on the orientation course.
We have a couple different options here. Obviously, the goal of this is to kind of give you guys a good taste of what's going to be going on today. And as you go through this unguided, there's definitely a reasonable expectation that with some Via Ferrata experience that you could get through this thing. Do understand that most of this orientation course is designed to be harder than what you're going to find out there. That way, it just gives us the confidence in your guys' ability and also kind of sets the tone for what you're getting involved into today. So ideally, you want to go all the way through this loop. But obviously we can see over here that it's pretty dang steep, and that's going to resemble there's two very difficult pitches on this course, and those are going to be identified by this double black diamond sign that also says expert only on that. So when you see those up on the course, you kind of know what you're about to get into. You definitely don't have to go the whole loop. If you get up there and you're feeling kind of pumped out, you can certainly come back and down climb. But if you want to go for those what we would consider the two of the most difficult pitches of Via Ferrata in the country, give it the full loop if you want to do that. So, it doesn't really matter which side you start on. The key things that I'm looking for is just making sure that you guys understand how to clip, how to move, and obviously how to utilize your resting carabiner. So everybody's pretty familiar with that. If you feel like you're starting to get pumped out, utilize this resting carabiner. The most important thing here is if we hit that red line, let's call it 3,000 RPMs, the I can't town, before you get to that point, clip in direct. That's what we want to avoid, is you getting in a situation where you're too pumped to do anything.
Logan was not kidding when he said that the orientation course was difficult. That top section was an absolute beast, but we knew we had to take it on if we planned on doing those 2 new pitches. After finishing the orientation course, we head towards the official start, and that's where Logan showed us another cool improvement. He made this awesome tribute to the Ute tribe, which were the original inhabitants of the land where the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata now sits. The second you step in the gate, you will be face to face with the first of 12 pitches. This one is known as the transfer. The course starts off with a bang, and this first pitch is about 50 to 60 feet tall. It is definitely a little bit on the technical side, but the good thing is that Logan is an incredible course builder. It seems like there's always a hand or foot rung exactly where you need it. One thing that was interesting compared to some of the other Via Ferratas that we have run is that sometimes the cable will switch from the left to the right side. If your lanyards aren't long enough to reach, you can always clip one onto one of the rungs and then move the other one all the way over. With the exception of the 2 new extreme pitches, in our opinion, this is the second most difficult pitch of the entire course. So when you get to the top of this one, you'll know you'll be in pretty good shape for the rest of the day. As promised earlier, I want to introduce you to our new friend Jenny. She runs an amazing charity called 𝐈𝐍𝐼𝐒, which is an incredible charity that takes disabled veterans on epic adventures. We will have a link to 𝐈𝐍𝐼𝐒 in the description below. One of the things that we really appreciate about the layout of this route, as opposed to other Via Ferratas that we've done like the Ouray upstream route, which you can see by clicking in the upper corner, is that after some of these tough pitches, there are small hiking sections. Even though these hiking sections might have flatlanders like us breathing heavy, it gives you a great chance to rest your arms. But the time for resting is now over because we are at pitch 2, the bench claim traverse. The vertical portion of this pitch is way shorter and easier than pitch 1. But once you get to the top of the climb, that's where the fun really kicks in on this pitch. If you're curious as to how these pitches get their names, well, they're actually old mining references. One of the major benefits of doing the guided version of Gold Mountain is that Logan and the other guys have a ton of knowledge of the history of the area and all the mining that took place here. We are now at the top of the climb, and this is where the traverse kicks in. This could be a little intimidating for some because up to this point you've just been staring into the rock wall as you climb, and now you're going to be working your way across a pretty small ledge while looking out over the view of the valley. Soon the ledge will be curving around to the left and diving into a canyon. This is a really fun section packed full of corner climbs as it zigzags its way up towards pitch number 3. Something great about running the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata is that if you still have energy left in you after the course, your gear rental is good for the whole day. So if you run this route first thing in the morning, you could take a small break and then run either Ouray's upstream or downstream route afterwards. Doing that would definitely make it a little bit more of a bargain.
We just finished pitch 2. Oh my god. We're at pitch 3 and I'm already tired. We still have, what, 10 more to go?
In the days leading up to this video, we had run Telluride's Via Ferrata as well as Ouray's upstream and downstream, so we were dragging a little bit. But this course waits for no one, and it's time to climb Coyote Corner. On this pitch, you will be experiencing your first natural rock holds. There aren't a ton of them, but the ones that we ended up using worked out really great. And there's also this section right here, which is one of my favorite sequences of Coyote Corner. I love how all the rungs are tucked into this zigzagged rock. In our opinion, this pitch is more fun than challenging, and it's also pretty short. Soon you'll be at the top and you'll be going for another short hike. Pitch number 4 is another fairly easy one, and it's called Bonanza Step. But don't let all of these easy pitches fool you, because there is some pretty wild stuff up ahead, especially if you plan on taking on those 2 extreme routes. Bonanza Step has some faint similarities to the last pitch because it has some natural rock holds and some corner climbs. In the middle, you'll have a small mid-set break to shake out those hands before you get right back to climbing again. Something great about Via Ferrata is that you don't need to be a hardcore rock climber to enjoy it. That being said, if you are planning on attempting this, we highly recommend hitting a climbing gym for a couple of months leading up to your trip. While it may not be required, it will make your life a whole lot easier. At the top of pitch 4, you'll be coming to yet another short hike, but this one has a nice little bonus to it. As you break through the trees, you're going to get your first look at this old mining mill, and also just above it, you're going to see the 𝐷𝐷𝐿 which is the first of the 2 new extreme pitches. This is also where, if you're not having a fantastic time, you can bail out, and this is your only chance to. Since our last visit, Logan has been investing a bunch of time, money, and effort into making this route easy to navigate for people who are doing the self-guided version. In fact, V and I put all of the first-time climbers in front of us and didn't tell them where to go, and they were navigating the course without any problems at all. Here's the stick that Logan jokingly told us holds up this entire hillside, and I'm glad to see it has a buddy now that has an arrow pointing you which way to go. Pitch number 5 on the course is called Golden Relics. This is the last easy climb before things are going to be getting a little bit spicy, as long as you're not taking the bypass. So be sure to savor this break. As we climbed our way towards the top, we saw Logan already up on the 𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐒. He was going to be joining us through these 2 extreme pitches because he couldn't help but watch us take them on. You have 3 options here. You can either turn right and make your way along the bottom of the wall. This will take you to the easier way up. This is what V ended up doing because she was absolutely blasted. We had done 3 Via Ferratas in the last 2 days. Option number 2 is the Dawn Wall. It is quite a bit harder. And option number 3 is the 𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐒, which is new, and it is intense. We will be starting with the easier route, also known as the Mineshaft Step Over. There is zero shame in taking this option, and if you're tired or just unsure that you can complete the Dawn Wall or 𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐒, we highly recommend taking this route. Also, it will give you the chance to video your friends that are attempting it from this cool angle. And here we have the Mineshaft Step Over. This is probably one of the easiest pitches on the course, and it takes you to a cave where you'll be reunited with anyone that took on the Dawn Wall. I was definitely excited and quite intimidated to take on the new 𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐒. When we did the regular Dawn Wall last year, it kicked my butt pretty good, and this one's a whole lot harder. You're going to be starting with a vertical section that will already have your arms pumping, followed up by one of the longest traverses I've ever experienced. In fact, it's probably about 3 times the length of the original Dawn Wall. So if this is your first time on Gold Mountain and you don't know exactly where you stand, I would take on the original Dawn Wall first. It is extremely important that you keep your resting carabiner, or as we call it, the pause button, in mind as you make your way across. This wall is an absolute beast, and I ended up using mine several times. We also figured out that we are going to be switching our resting carabiners from auto-locking carabiners to wire gate ones. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it just makes things a little bit more complicated when you're already running out of energy. Towards the end of the EX wall, things get even more exciting when you switch from rungs to some natural holds. All of the natural holds are great, but as pumped as I was, it felt like I was barely hanging on by the end. Eventually you will reach a corner, and when you see this arrow, you can be pretty proud of yourself because you have conquered the EX portion of the dom wall. You may want to consider taking a break here, because now you have to do the original dom wall. This next section is like a shock to the senses. Since there is an overhang on the wall just below you, it feels like you're way higher. And even the wall that you're on is slightly overhanging, so if your arms weren't tired before, this is gonna finish you off. The hardest part of the original dom wall is this little cove right here. It leans you way back, and you need to just stay focused and keep moving and get through it as quickly as you can. After that, things will ease up, and I'm happy to say that you have tackled the first of the hardest pitches in North America. Logan said that a lot of the time people will only do either the dom wall EX or the monkey bars that are coming up, but they won't do both.
Wow, that was incredible.
But luckily for our viewers, An and I are a little bit sadistic, and we weren't going to leave until we experienced everything that this course had to throw at us. Logan had truly outdone himself with the dom wall EX, and we couldn't wait to see what else he had in store.
That was nuts. Stoked I did it though.
Would you think it's more helpful with Logan helping you with a guy for the EX?
Unless you're a certified Chuck Norris badass, I feel like it would probably help. Like if you're like intense climber or something like that, it could definitely be done. I think really gotta rely on the pause button. I think either 3 or 4 for me. No shame in that game.
He didn't even use the pause button.
You didn't use the pause button?
But he made it easier, because had he not been there, I think I would have expended a lot more energy doing things the hard way, and he showed me like a better way to do things. So having him there was very helpful. So unless you are some elitist climber thingy, it's very helpful to have him.
Yeah, for sure.
So Unguided is pretty cool if you want to do the dom wall EX. Recommending a guy. Going with a guy.
Unless you're a badass.
Unless you're a badass.
Unless you're a total badass.
Or you can do the bypass that I did.
No shame in that either.
Okay.
Whichever route you take to get to this point, you will now be going through a tunnel, which is such a cool addition to this course. And the amazing things don't stop there, because right on the other side of the tunnel is a neat little suspension bridge. The suspension bridge is actually considered to be a pitch, so if you're keeping track, we are now on pitch 7, and it is called Follow the Trolley. If you are up here trying to conquer a fear of heights, we highly recommend just staring straight forward. This bridge is just a tiny bit wobbly, but if you just hold on to both sides and keep working your way across, you should be just fine. Once you cross the bridge, you will be at yet another element that we have never seen on any other Via Ferrata course, and it is an over 100-year-old blacksmith shop. With all of the fire and hard working conditions, it probably wasn't that fun in here, but man, talk about an office with a view. As I mentioned before, a lot of people don't do both of the extreme pitches on this route, and it's because they are almost back to back. Here we are arriving at pitch 8, Cutting Horse Corner, which is the home of the hardest pitch in North America. If you want to skip the monkey bars, you can take the green bypass route, and you can see that in more detail by clicking the link in the upper corner. However, if you're going to attempt the monkey bars, you better get ready, because it's about to get wild. Before committing to anything, we took a small side trail so that we could see them and formulate some sort of a game plan. The intimidation level was definitely high, because I had been watching people attempt the monkey bars on Basecamp Ouray's Instagram. And I must say, in a world of sensationalism and clickbait, this pitch is the real deal. If you're going to be attempting the monkey bars, I would almost say that being a somewhat skilled rock climber is absolutely necessary. The only reason I say almost is because On's not a rock climber. But he has been a canyoneer for quite some time now, so a lot of those skills do seem to have carried over. Even the traverse up to the monkey bars can be pretty challenging. There aren't a ton of rungs, so you'll be using natural holds for both your hands and your feet. Needless to say, whether you're doing the guided or unguided version of Gold Mountain, footwear choice is extremely important. Although, as you will see over the course of this obstacle, you might not be using your feet a whole lot. This pitch is absolutely revolutionary. I thought that I had a pretty good handle on what type of obstacles you will come across over the course of a Via Ferrata, and this took it and threw that all out the window. I think that one of the main things you need to pay attention to on the monkey bars is clipping. At least for me, so much of my brain power was devoted to just holding on that I wasn't really paying attention where my carabiners were. You will be reclipping 3 times over the course of the monkey bars, and if you pass the clip, it's going to use up even more of your energy. What seemed like the end of this pitch was pretty spectacular, because you almost have to let your feet cut to reach that lower rung. And I can't tell you how relieved I was when I got off of that overhang.
Wow. That is out of control.
Nice job.
But that victorious feeling was short-lived. You may have noticed earlier I said what seemed like the end of the pitch. Well, it's not done yet. Because now we have to take a short but stout traverse over to an erect climb with some slightly overhanging sections that Logan estimates to be about a 510 plus. Even though you won't be able to see the members of your party that took the easier route, this is how close together the two climbs are. After the erect climb, there is another traverse with natural rock holds. This part felt pretty challenging, but it just could be because I felt like I was climbing with noodles for arms at this point. I'm not even going to lie, I had to hit the pause button a couple of times on this last little section of the pitch. There were just a couple of points where I had absolutely nothing left to give. But it's pretty amazing how stopping and shaking your arms out can really refresh you and get you right back on the way again. I'm not sure which pitch is longer between this one and the Dawn Wall EX. I know that that one is traversing and this one is more vertical climbing, but this definitely feels like the longest pitch on Gold Mountain. After one more tricky little traverse, we had officially conquered the 2 hardest pitches in North America. Well, at least the 2 toughest until Logan figures something else out. With the hardest parts of the course behind us, you're going to be following the sign and going up a very simple climb. These next couple of climbs are just what our arms needed. While it may be more strenuous than a hiking section, it's easy enough to where you can still recharge your batteries just a little bit. You still have one more mini climb between you and a short hike over to pitch number 9. This one is known as Iron Horse. This is another fun vertical climb that zigzags its way up towards the top, giving you beautiful views of the valley behind you. Some may find this pitch challenging, but I don't even think that it's as difficult as the first pitch. At this point, I don't think that anything is going to be overly challenging for anyone that has a decent amount of Via Ferrata experience. The only thing that might give people a sudden surge of adrenaline is the height of that suspension bridge towards the end. We have now arrived at the top of pitch 9. There are only 2 more short hikes in between pitches. This one had us once again huffing and puffing our way up towards the top, but it was a beautiful little walk through the forest. You will be making your way up some switchbacks and a couple of short exposed clipped in sections before you round a corner and get your first good look at the second longest suspension bridge in the entire country. But before you get to cross that bridge, you'll need to climb pitch 10, which is the bedrock push. This is another really fun corner climb that will take you all the way up to the start of the bridge. Whether you took the easy or the difficult routes on the way up, you should pretty much be a Via Ferrata expert at this point, and you should cruise right up this one. And before you know it, you'll be standing at pitch 11, which is the Bridge of Heaven. This bridge is a marvel of modern engineering as it stretches its way 273 feet across the canyon. One detail that we really appreciate is that Logan ran a high wire on the left side of the bridge, so you can clip in once there and you don't need to reclip the entire distance of the bridge. This made Anso happy. He decided to drop it like it's hot halfway through. Last across was V. I'm not sure why, but last year she couldn't clip into that high wire, so she had to reclip all the way across the bridge. I don't know if her technique has gotten better or if Logan just adjusted the wire down for smaller Via Ferratas, but either way, it worked out this time. After crossing the bridge, you'll be taking one of the very few down climbs located on the course and heading directly under the bridge. The finish line is nearly in sight and it's kind of bittersweet. Part of me could do this all day, but the other part is ready for a break. This is the last hike between pitches on this route. It's another very short one, and soon pitch number 12 will be coming into sight. It is known as the last ditch pitch. This is a medium length climb, and it's just technical enough to send you out on a high note. We could hear Aaron and Jenny celebrating at the top. They ended up finishing quite a bit before we did. We were taking our time and doing our best to capture all of Logan's crazy new creations in the best way possible. And it ended up taking us about 4 hours from the start of pitch 1 to this point right here. But I knew in the back of my mind that there was still one new addition that we hadn't had the chance to enjoy yet. Logan's gong.
Ooh, that's a good one. Namaste.
Namaste. Mariska Hagatar.
Hey. Yeah.
Like on.
Yeah. Hi-yo! High five.
There it is.
Even though we were all celebrating and there was the end of route sign and everything, we weren't quite done just yet. This is one of the longer hikes along the route, and with all the climbing that we've done, this is obviously the highest one as well. As much as we wanted to carry on and share our experiences of our ascent up Gold Mountain, this was a very quiet moment for us. Mainly because everyone was breathing heavily as they clawed their way up towards the top. But once you reach this gazebo, you are officially done, and congratulations because you've officially taken on the beast that is the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata. Almost out of nowhere, Logan appeared like a knight in shining armor with his trusty steed to take us back down to his car. As we ride back down the mountain, let's check back in with Logan to talk about the future of the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata and other exciting news for Basecamp Ouray.
We ran the course last year. It's incredible. You could have very well just been like, done. Just kick back in a lawn chair, hammock, whatever you want to do. But that's not exactly how you work. We have 2 new pitches. Is it done now?
Definitely not. No, definitely not. I think it was interesting, man. There was definitely moments where it's like, yeah, do I want to continue doing this? Building Via Ferratas is very physically difficult. There's lots of red tape, dealing with engineers, permitting processes, but at the end of the day, I think for me, I'm really driven and inspired by the works of Walt Disney, for example. The idea behind Disneyland was that Disneyland was always going to be evolving, and it was a living, breathing thing that was a motion picture in real life, and so hearing those kind of elements and that vision of Walt Disney has definitely inspired me to continue to push this. You know, I'm already trying to put together either a slide or a zip line to get people off of this. The county permitting office, I think it gets a little bit scared every time they see me walk in the door, but that's the point. You know, I think that we have to always continue to grow and evolve, and you know, I think that we're in a very unique position in that we have a landowner who's committed and willing to stand behind my crazy visions and make them into reality, and that's really just a testament to the spirit of entrepreneurship. You know, it's I think that if you stop growing, you're dying, you know, and I really, I don't know if it's just my compulsive ADD or what, but I can't stop thinking about what we can do to really optimize and maximize this experience for these folks.
Cool. Well,
Repelling.
oh
yeah.
She says add repelling.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
You've also opened up the Triple Crown, which is, I mean, that's pretty a good idea too. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Triple Crown, I think, is not only a testament to the collaboration within the guiding industry, as we're working with Mountain Trip, which is a well-established guiding service. They've been around for over 30 years. They're kind of our neighbors just over the hill in 𝐈𝐿𝐼e, and so we're in a very unique position here in Ouray and 𝐈𝐿𝐼e in that we can offer 3 Via Ferratas all within about an hour of each other. So, you know, you start out with a trip in 𝐈𝐿𝐼e going across obviously the iconic and classic 𝐈𝐿𝐼e Via Ferrata, and then we bring those folks over to Ouray. They get to do the Ouray upstream or downstream course, and then that all culminates in a trip up Gold Mountain. So I think for people that are looking for like the full throttle crash course in Via Ferrata, but do want to be guided on that, the Triple Crown is an amazing, you know, an amazing experience for those folks.
We'd like to send Logan and the crew over at Basecamp Ouray a huge shout out, and thank you so much for putting together such an incredible experience. Don't forget to use coupon code 𝐷𝐿𝐼𝐒 for a discount at checkout, and for all the information about the Gold Mountain Via Ferrata, as well as other awesome Colorado adventures, head on over to 𝐷𝐿𝐼𝐒.com.